NL winners and losers. Just made the AL winners and losers video. Go check that out if you haven't already. It's a great video. Breaking down all these teams here. Time for the NL. Let's check the odds here real quick. Dodgers, Phillies at the top, as they should be. Braves. Then not until the Brewers. So the AL's not as deep. I mean, the NL's not as deep, I think, as the AL. I'll start out with some winners here. The Dodgers, first off and foremost. I think you have to put them as a winner. They get Amed Rosario, they get Tommy Edman, and they get Kevin Kiermaier, right? Those are three guys that are going to add, help them in roles they think they need, right? Rosario infield, Tommy Edman outfield, infield. It's kind of like a Betts, where Betts is playing, Edman's probably going to be the opposite side. If Betts playing shortstop, Edman would be in the outfield. If Edman's playing shortstop, Betts can be in the outfield. They can kind of mix and match there. And then Kevin Kiermaier, I think, is a guy that is going to be very underrated. It's going to help him a lot. Great defensive guy, which I think they missed a little bit in the outfield, right? And he's going to be, that's depth. They need an outfield that's depth. Could be Edman and Betts, that's more depth. And he's great defense coming in late in the game, closing the game out. I really like that deal. Michael Kopech they added. We made a video also about this yesterday. It was more of an instant reaction from the Edman and Kopech deal. Kopech, I said in yesterday's video they always had just an obscure pitcher. They did it last year with Lance Lynn. They're doing it now with Michael Kopech. And I think the Dodgers last year, that would have been enough, right? They would have just added Michael Kopech. But I think they also added Jack Flaherty, which was the big guy of the day, right? They got nervous because last year they only had Lance Lynn. It wasn't enough. They got smoked. Their pitching got smoked. This year they had Jack Flaherty as well to really bolster down that starting rotation. I think there's a little bit of concern right now of who is going to start for the Dodgers. They answered it. Jack Flaherty, Michael Kopech. I think it has to be considered a winner because they got a lot of guys. They got a lot of their needs. But I'm not 100% sure at the moment how it's going to work out. Phillies. I have them in winners just because I don't think the Phillies, took a different approach. They didn't try to do too much addition. They liked what they got. Maybe they got rid of what they didn't like, and they added those pieces. And I think that's enough. That's enough. You don't have to do too much at these deadlines. Obviously, they got rid of Soto, Sir Anthony Dominguez, which was a little shocking to me in the moment, right? And you give them to the Orioles, which is, the Orioles were like, thanks, You had Austin Hayes, who's been playing really well already. I think that's a great get. I talked about that yesterday in yesterday's video, how that was the right move. The guy can play. He's young. Then they had Tanner Banks and Carlos Estevez to replace Soto and Sir Anthony Dominguez. They think it's an upgrade. I think we'll wait and see whether it's an upgrade. I think Estevez is probably the best pitcher out of the four. Banks, I think, is a very unknown Marlins pitcher. But, guys, they come to play when they're in better spots. So I think we're going to see if Banks is about it or not. Now, sneaky winner of the whole deadline is the San Diego Padres. The lineup's already elite. They had pitching problems. They had the best bullpen piece in the whole trade deadline, Tanner Scott, and arguably the second best bullpen piece in all the trade deadline, and Jason Adams. I wanted the Yankees to grab one of those guys. They did not. Good job at the Padres. He also had Pirates pitcher Martin Perez, starting pitcher, bolster that too. Better be worth it. I mean, they spent their number 2, 4, and 5 prospect to get these three guys. You got to make it happen. They got to get in. They're still fighting to get in to the playoffs because it's going to be tough for them to catch the Dodgers, right? It's enough now. The lineup is good with Morel, Cronenworth, Profar, Machado, Bogarts, Kim. That lineup's good, right? It's good enough to win games. Bullpen just got a lot better. Starting pitcher got some depth. It's go time for them. And I'm glad they didn't overpay for Luis Robert or Garrett Crochet. They stayed with themselves a little bit more. Got the needs. Bolstered what they wanted. Now it's time to play. Losers. I got the Braves. Just Jorge Soler, and they gave it to Tyler Matzik. I don't know. It felt a little bit like a punt to me for the Braves. If you go back and look at that World Series team, they lost Ronald Acuna Jr., and they added so many guys at the deadline to make that work. They added Soler, they added Duvall. I'm pretty sure they added more that I'm blanking on in the moment. But they added a lot to get to where they needed to be. They added nothing here. Jorge Soler is not enough for this team. And I don't know. I think they were trying to show the fans they're still in it. But at the same time, it's kind of showed me that they don't think they're on par with everybody else. And they didn't want to spend it. It sucks to be in that position. I mean, you lose a Strider, you lose a Cunha. It's a tough ask to be like, let's give it our all and try and go for it. It's understandable. Second loser, I got the Brewers. I mean, the Brewers never spend. If anything, they sell. They're in first place in the division. They sell. They did that with Josh Hader to the Padres. At least they got Frankie Montas, but they gave a good, decent prospect in Joey Wiemer, a guy I like a little bit. So it's the Brewers. What do you expect? I'm a little shocked they didn't go for a little bit more, considering that the Cardinals sold, the Pirates sold some pieces. The Reds, interestingly, sold in Montas, but got Wiemer. They didn't really sell anybody else. But the Cubs sold. So I'm a little shocked they didn't go for it all. Maybe they're like, we'll just we'll take the division, we'll take our third place, we'll sell our playoff tickets, and we'll be good for next year. That's the Brewer way. Two teams I have in the mid section. I did this with the AL. I have two teams this time. The Mets. I relate the Mets to the Red Sox. The Red Sox were kind of sneaky. They just had a good enough bullpen to, just get under the radar, but they bolstered a lot of their stuff they needed. The Mets did the same thing. They added Jesse Winker. Not the best guy, but a vet in that locker room and a guy that could add a lot of depth to the outfield, which was already struggling. It's a decently get. And then they got five arms. The Mets got 5 arms. One of them starter in Paul Blackburn from the A's, one of their better starters. That's a decent get for them because the starting pitching was a problem. They lost Senga again. Then they had 4, I'm assuming 4 bullpen guys: Matten, Brisbona, Stanek, and Zuber. They're trying to close out the end of the game because that was a problem for them, and they're sneakily going for it. I mean, this is now a team that could be the Diamondbacks of last year. Everyone's kind of just counting them out, and then all their star players show up. The bullpen looks like it's amazing, and they get it done. I also put here the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are on a sneaky heater right now. No one's talking about them. They were below 500, and they had a terrible start to the season. Carroll's not producing. Suarez not producing. Jock Peterson's not producing. Rodriguez hasn't even thrown a pitch for them. They were way under 500. They're now 57-51. They're 7-3 of their last 10. They're probably even better than that in their last 20. They're playing Greece really well, and they added Josh Bell, who Christian Walker just went down, so they added Josh Bell. And they got A.J. Puck to help the bullpen. That's solid moves to me. We can make the postseason kind of move. We see the Central selling. We could be one of those teams in the postseason right now. I don't blame them. I think they can. The Padres and Diamondbacks now are competing for the Braves. They both could get ahead of the Braves. They're pretty much almost tied with them. Braves are 57-49, Diamondbacks 57-51. Marlins sold everybody. We knew this was coming. I think they sold even more than we thought, though, which is kind of crazy. That's just the Marlins way. Jazz. Brian did the Cruz went to the Pirates, which Pirates sold and bought. Weird. I also put them in the Giants, who sold and bought. It's just weird, so I don't know what the Giants are doing. They salary dumped, but yet they kind of went for it. So I guess they're more worried about next year. Pirates kind of did the same thing. Marlins got rid of everybody. 3 winners: Dodgers, Phillies, Padres. Losers: Braves, Brewers. Mid-tier: Mets, Diamondbacks. That is my breakdown of the deadline. I'm Josh Rossi.